Welcome back to the show once again. Nice to have our next guest join us. And tonight's episode is directed by one of the stars, so you can look forward to that.
Very exciting. We're all fans of Stargate Universe on the show here, and we are joined now by Jennifer Spence. She plays the role of Dr. Lisa Park. How are you?
I'm Jennifer, how are you? Tonight's episode is directed by Mr. Carlisle, yes?
Indeedly do.
What is that, when you have one of the stars directing, does that change anything on set for the day, or do you have to look at Robert Carlisle a little differently? Or?
Well, what's hilarious is when he's directing and he's acting in the scene. So it's just like, he'll be like, cut.
Cut. That was horrible.
Yeah. So it's fun. But it was great because he really comes from that actor's perspective, right? So he really helps you along with your performance. And like, even if it's just, one line for the episode, then he'll just be like, okay, try it like this. And it's like, oh yeah,
that's brilliant.
And Stargate Universe, it's been a huge hit from the start, which is fantastic that the franchise is continuing on, of course. What's happening right now on the show that people are seeing? Where is everything at?
Well, the cool thing about the second season, I have to say, is that it just keeps getting better and better. Like, it's even better than the first, even though the first was great.
So you guys are stuck on a ship.
Oh, yes. So to break it down is, a bunch of us, civilians, military, scientists, are all stuck on this ship together with no way of getting home. So it's just
and the ship stops at random planets every now and then.
Well, we can Stargate out to various places to get supplies and to just survive. That's basically the whole premise of the show, is how to survive together. You know?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you think about it, that concept of anyone who's had a roommate. Imagine that scenario. Stuck on a ship. And I think that's part of, because it is part of the science fiction franchise, but really, like all great science fiction, it's really about those human stories, like what happens to people.
Yeah, that's what I really love about it, is that it's just, for me, it's like the easiest way to describe it is it's ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances just trying to survive. And so there's, there's love stuff, there's fear stuff.
There's a little bit of love stuff going on with your charter.
Just a little.
There's not a lot of women on the show, really. So how does Dr. Lisa Park deal with all of that?
Well, I think there's definitely an aspect of, trying to prove herself amongst, mostly male team of scientists. Yeah. And I think she does. But her stress relief is sleeping with the male military.
Right on.
Well, you have to have a hobby, right? When you're stuck on a ship,
what else is there to do?
You gotta have a hobby. It's a good one, but it's got to be fun to play a character like that, right? Because you get to sort of. Well, you get to play. You get to do a part of a personality that maybe isn't part of your everyday.
Well, exactly, and just nice to have. I really like the idea of secrets, when characters have kind of secrets, and it really builds that extra bit in, where it's just like, okay, well, why does she do that, and where did that come from, and how did that start? So it's just an added level to a character.
Do you make up those secrets, or do you talk to the producers and stuff and the writers and try and get a handle on some of it, or?
I think I think in general it can be both. In this particular situation, it was Carl Binder, one of the writers and executive producers, and he put that forth, and I'm just grateful to him for doing it, because it's just like, what a great
little thing
concept.
As an actor.
Well, and then you get to run with the secrets, right? You can make it up as you want.
And then I can make it mean whatever I want it to mean, or whatever. But
okay, we're going to look at a clip right now. Why don't you set this one up for us?
So this one was from the first season, and sometimes it feels so long ago. It's like, what happened again? So I think with this episode, it was a situation where we had found a couple of habitable or potentially habitable planets in the vicinity, and it was coming down to having to evacuate the ship because life support and all our other supplies were running low. So we'd had a lottery of people who could go off, and so we'd found these planets. So we were kind of cautiously optimistic.
Struggling with it. Okay, well, here is a scene from Stargate Universe.
So there's a chance now that we're gonna live, though our definition of habitable just means the surface temperature range allows for the presence of liquid water, and since the primary is a red dwarf, the planets must have a relatively short orbital radius just to fall within that range, which means there's a likelihood at least one or two of them will be tidally locked, meaning one side will always be facing the star, which increases the prospect of geological instability due to tidal stresses. And I can't stand earthquakes. I was in one when I was 13, and I cut both my feet on broken glass. but it might be nice.
I love that scene because it just shows that, you know, Lisa, your character, has that analytical pessimism that comes with being a scientist sometimes, but that natural buoyancy of just her personality that's sort of buried in
and
there.
wanting to be optimistic, like wanting to see the best in everything.
It might be nice.
We're gonna survive.
Okay, we wanted to talk about another show that you work on called X's and O's.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, X's and O's. The best way to describe that show, I think, is it's kind of like a lesbian Sex and the City meets Friends, if that makes sense. So it's like a half-hour dramedy. Probably is the best term for it. And yeah, just super fun.
And what character do you play on X's and O's?
I play Devin Cheng, who is a bisexual barista. And so, again, with the
I love these characters that you end up with. It's so funny. Just a juxtaposition, though, right? I mean, to your personality and sometimes the characters that you get to play as well. But this show has had such an impact. You received a wonderful award from GLAAD, a great organization, just last year, and I guess that's part of what you must enjoy about this work as well, is because, yeah, it's great as an actor, but it's a show that has a real heart and a real message as well.
Yeah, and you know, it's like we were talking about earlier, it's just there isn't enough of that kind of show, you know? It's like when you want to embrace different aspects of various communities, that's what you need to do. Yeah. And so it's, yeah, I hope it comes back for a third season. And just showing
life, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about sexual preferences necessarily, it's about people living their life, and that is part of their life. So it's almost like a normalization of you know, what people experience every day anyway.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, that it's not just, I think, people who are gay or bisexual who are going to enjoy it, because it's just about the same struggles that anybody who's a human being has. It's just like, oh, I like this person and they don't like me back, why?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Or I'm having trouble with my job, or, you know, whatever it is, right?
Cheer for some couples and you cheer for some couples to break them.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. And of course, you can watch Stargate Universe. It airs on Space Fridays at 10 o'clock. Do not miss it.
Yeah, and tonight's episode is directed by one of the stars, Robert Carlyle, as well, so that gives a little extra incentive.
Thank you
so much,
me.
and congratulations. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, So You Think He Can Dance Canada's Tara Jean Popowich and Vincent Desjardins will be joining us after this. Of course, from last season, So You Think He Can Dance Canada winner and first runner-up.
And we're going to dance. Well, they are, because we can't.
I can dance sitting.